Hello and welcome back to Men Behind the Stats. I'm Statman Cam and today we'll be taking a look at one of Manchester United's most important but also most criticised players. We'll be looking at Victor Lindelof and why he's so vital for Manchester United. We'll be starting with some gameplay analysis and then we'll be looking a little bit deeper into some stats to show why Lindelof is such an important player for United. So, gameplay analysis. I'm going to show with these examples why Lindelof's general awareness wherever he is on the pitch makes him so good in possession but also when he's defending. We start with Mason Greenwood's goal against Brighton. Now it was Lindelof's great work off the ball in creating the spare man that made this goal happen and created the space. So looking at the picture, you've got Lindelof in the red circle and Dan Burn in the blue circle there, who's playing as the left back for Brighton. Take note of the spacing between Dan Burn and Lewis Dunk at centre back. Moving further on, have a look now at where Dan Burn is. He's tracking Victor Lindelof, and look at the space that's now opened up for Mason Greenwood. Wan-Bissaka now has two options. He can either play it down the line for Lindelof or he can play it infield to Mason Greenwood. If we move on, you can see Dan Burn's gone with Victor Lindelof, the ball's been played towards Mason Greenwood, and suddenly there's a big space between Dunk and Dan Burn for Mason Greenwood to exploit. Looking at it from a different angle as well, you can really see how much space there is for Greenwood to exploit. And once he's 1v1 with the defender, in that situation he can go either side because he's so good on both feet, and it ended up in the back of Brighton's net. The unseen work from Victor Lindelof was crucial in that goal happening. I now want to show one example of his passing and one of his defending. So, this is taken from the Astana game. If you look at where Lindelof receives the ball here, he's got a very easy pass into Wan-Bissaka and possibly one into Mason Greenwood into the space just around him. However, the ball into Greenwood is likely to be closed down by the Astana left back, forcing Mason Greenwood to have to turn back round and play that ball either back to Lindelof or to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's free. Moving on to when Lindelof actually plays the ball, you can see he's under pressure from the Astana player, and it looks like he's going for Mason Greenwood. But no, he spotted a brilliant ball into the feet of Anthony Martial. Driving that ball into Anthony Martial, breaking the midfield line, allows Martial to turn straight away and go in behind, whilst the Astana defender is focused on Greenwood breaking into the space wide and behind him. That type of line-breaking pass is vital for Manchester United, and it shows Lindelof's all-round awareness. It's not just the fact he's played the pass and had the vision to spot it, it's where he's played the pass as well. It's into Martial's path, so he can take one touch behind the defence and then he's through on goal. And if he isn't through on goal, he goes wide, and Mason Greenwood can cut in from the right, go into a central position, and United have a good chance. Now we'll look at a couple of examples of Lindelof's play defensively. The first example is against Liverpool, and they're looking to do what they do best, put a cross in with Andy Robertson there. You can see Mane's trying to make a run across the front post, and you can see Wijnaldum making a dangerous run from outside the box, arriving late. Now Fred, it looks like, is marking Wijnaldum, but Lindelof anticipates the danger and gets across to make sure Wijnaldum can't get to that ball. The second example here is against Wolves. You've got Adama Traore putting in a cross from a wide right position. The cross gets through Brandon Williams and it goes through Harry Maguire's legs. And Victor Lindelof is alive to the danger, having anticipated that from Maguire, and clears the ball. It's something that United have seen a lot this season. There's been a lot of low crosses put into the box against us, and fairly often it's gone through everyone else, but it's Victor Lindelof there sweeping up and clearing. Harry Maguire is very good at dealing with the aerial balls. He's a dominant aerial presence. Lindelof doesn't have that in his locker. He's nowhere near as good in the air. But in terms of cutting out those low crosses, Victor Lindelof has done a really good job and has been vital for Manchester United this season. So, we've seen with these clips that Lindelof is very good at knowing where he is on the pitch, where everyone else is, and anticipating what might happen. We've seen that defensively he's very good at covering for his teammates, spotting danger and getting across to cut it out. Going forward, Lindelof's very capable of creating that extra man, creating an overload, distracting defenders to create space for United's better forward players. And the final thing we've seen is Lindelof's line-breaking passing. This is one of his best attributes, and it's something that is quite often overlooked because Maguire's sort of seen as being the ball-playing distributor out of the back. Looking at this graph here, what you can see is that Harry Maguire is a fantastic carrier of the ball. He's amongst the best in that aspect. In fact, in this chart, he is the best of all the centre-backs. He's brilliant at carrying the ball forward. But Victor Lindelof is very good at passing the ball forward. In terms of his progressive passing, that's moving the ball towards the opposition goal. He's amongst the best in that attribute. The group he's in is an elite group anyway, on that graph, in terms of distributors of the ball. and Lindelof is certainly doing a good job there. We saw from the examples the vision he has, but it's not just his ability to pass the ball forwards that's so impressive. In other situations, he's very capable of beating the press or taking on a man himself, getting round him and laying the ball off to his teammates. So he takes the difficult situation on himself to lighten the load on other players around him. He's also taken the load off the midfield players by being able to play balls through to the forwards, which is fantastic because for a long part of this season, United's midfield hasn't been brilliant. Clearly, you can see that Lindelof and Maguire, as a pairing, are brilliant at taking the ball out from the back, brilliant at distributing the ball, and they're very useful players to have to start attacks and progress the ball. The issues with this partnership, however, come defensively. Clearly, Harry Maguire isn't the fastest. Victor Lindelof isn't the most imposing in the air. So how, therefore, can you make a successful partnership, allowing you to get the most out of these players going forwards, whilst making sure you've got a strong defence as well? The answer here is to stop thinking about it as a partnership altogether. There's a whole defensive unit there that needs to be strong. I've often said, you would have heard it in my videos, you would have seen it on my Twitter, that if you want to win a title, you need 2 out of that triangle of centre-halves and goalkeeper to be physically imposing, dominant aerial presences. You could argue Harry Maguire is, Victor Lindelof isn't, and David De Gea isn't. So for me, going forward, United should replace David De Gea with a sweeper keeper, someone who's able to come out of their box, dominate in the air and come through things in a way that Manuel Neuer does, the way that Ederson does and Alisson for Liverpool. As well as reducing the issue from conceding from set pieces, because you've got a keeper who can come out, come through players, punch the ball away and get rid of it. And it would also help from crosses. In addition to that, it would mitigate Maguire's lack of pace because you've got a keeper starting that much further up off his line, that much closer to Harry Maguire. So if the ball goes in behind him, there's a keeper there to sweep up, in the way that Ederson does for Manchester City. David De Gea is a Manchester United legend, and he's a brilliant player. He's been a fantastic goalkeeper. Technically, he's a brilliant shot stopper, and he's been very good in one-on-one situations for a number of years. However, going forward, he doesn't seem like the right profile of player to complement Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. This isn't me saying De Gea isn't a good player. He's a good goalkeeper, not as good as he once was, but he's a good goalkeeper. What Manchester United need is to replace De Gea with someone of the right profile to complement Lindelof and Harry Maguire. The set-piece issue should never have been this bad. United have a really tall team, so from second balls United should be fine. The issue is having dominant players to win the first balls, and that's what United lack at the moment. We've seen though, the plus point to Lindelof's game, what he's so good at, and why that means United should put up with this lack of aerial presence from Lindelof, because going forward, Lindelof's skill set is very useful for United. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do smash the like button. If you're not subscribed, do that now so you're notified for my next videos. And if you like the new format, please do comment. If you don't like it, let me know, and we'll see what we can do for the next ones. Thanks again for watching it, and see you next time.